Melissa was giving me her 5 people that she would sit down and have a conversation with if she could, dead or alive, real or fiction. And she was saying it was her father.
Yes, my father. I have no memories of him. Well, I have one memory of him, and I was little. He was supposed to take me and a cousin to buy a pair of those. If you ever seen those little plastic high heel shoes that little girls wear when they're playing dress up, he was supposed to take us to the store. I remember us being in the store looking at them and him saying he would take us back to get them the following week when he got paid, and he got killed before he could take us back. And that's the only memory I have. I can see him in my head and everything. And I thought I had made the memory up until a cousin confirmed that, I was with you and I was looking forward to them shoes. She was a couple of years older than me, old enough to remember. So I would definitely talk to my father. I don't know a lot about him. The only stories I really know of my father came from my siblings. And we all know that kids idolize parents who aren't around. Yeah. So I don't know if a lot of the stories I've heard about him are legit or whether they are people putting him on a pedestal. But everything I've heard from everyone who's ever talked about him is that he was a mean son of a gun, but that he loved his kids. So I would like to talk to him and find that out myself. My second one is Malcolm X. I don't think I got really to say too much about the why. I don't think I need to say too much. But real talk, I didn't develop my love for Blackness and Black people until I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. And there's a book of Malcolm X's speeches that a friend gave me when I was 19 that completely changed my life. So I would love to talk to Malcolm X.
Okay, real quick. I haven't studied Malcolm yet, right? Because I'm really into the journey of self. I'm trying to figure out everything in here.
Understood.
Right? And Malcolm is a heavy topic, right?
Yes.
But I will say this. Malcolm got me in some trouble. Right?
Me too.
Because Malcolm got me in some trouble with our people. Malcolm did a talk or interview, and Malcolm was dogging the Democrats. He was going hard, right? And I had already started researching, because the one thing Trump did for me was wake me up to politics. I was like, oh, hold on. I got to see what all of this is about, right? And I came to the realization. I was like, hold on. This whole Democrat thing ain't perfect, right? And when I saw the Malcolm thing, I was like, oh, I could post some of this stuff on Facebook. Oh, boy. I was all types of coons and Uncle Toms and Uncle Ruckus. And I was like, hold fast. I just got a different opinion of things.
See, this is the thing about Malcolm that I wish more people would really focus on. People tend to pick and choose which parts of a person's life they want to recognize and hold up as glory. Like, the thing I love about Malcolm so much is that he was man enough to grow and say, I was wrong. I'm a change. Right. He took that journey. He came back a changed man, which just lets me know that we can too. But I absolutely agree with you that there's a lot that Malcolm said that people who clamor all over him when he was a radical, when he was, that in his later years, they wouldn't F with. You know what I mean? They wouldn't have anything to do with. Right. Because he came back and said, nah, not all white people are devils. Right. I was wrong. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so the fact that he could hold the views he held and then come back and say, I was wrong, that's what really drew me to him. But he got me in trouble in school because I had to do a book report and we had to dress up like the character. And I dressed up like Malcolm and I dressed up as Malcolm, the drug dealer and pimp. And I took tobacco out of my mama's cigarettes and sugar and put them in a bag. And somebody told the principals that I had drugs, real drugs. And I got trouble. So, but yes, I am a huge Malcolm fan. Martin too, but Malcolm all the way. And I would love to have a conversation with him. If I could.
Martin, which I've only seen this on YouTube one time, they probably took it off. Martin got to the point where he was like, look, dog, I'm going to DC to get my check. And soon after that, Martin wasn't around no more. Yeah.
And the thing about him is that they kind of changed and see, Jamal said it perfectly. He said hero worship is a blind spot for a lot of people. Like they both kind of changed kind of in opposite directions. Martin started off docile and got frustrated and angry and was like, F this. And Malcolm started off frustrated and angry and became a little softer with knowledge. And so that's my whole point, is like, we can take a little bit from everybody. We just gotta really, but we gotta know a person's whole story before we can call them a hero or our, you know, who we idolize, that kind of thing. So that's Malcolm is my dude.
So hold on, before we go to the next one.
Okay.
My wife said, she said, yay, so that means we can do the other topics because the time starts over, right? So if you want to roll,
I'm good.
We can roll.
I'm good. I'm good.
I ain't got nothing else.
I'm good. We can roll. I kind of thought we might be doing this anyway, so I'm good with that.
Cool.
All right. So number 3 shouldn't be a surprise to anybody either. Maya Angelou. And I'll tell you why that she's so important to me and my poetry. There's this running idea within the poetry community that people who rhyme are less talented than people who don't. That rhyming is elementary, simple, doesn't take a lot of talent, kind of thing. And Maya proves that wrong. Like, her stuff rhymed, and it was very simple rhymes. They were very, very simple rhymes, but they were beautiful poems. And that, coupled with her life story, absolutely makes her my poetic idol. She is the one that I looked up to, that I first began reading. Phenomenal Woman is one of my absolute favorite poems in the world. So yeah, Maya would be number 3. Absolutely. Okay. Cried when she passed away like she was my auntie, for real. No lie. Number 4 would be Oprah Winfrey.
Ooh, why Oprah?
Man, I love that woman. And people get down on her and call her so. Oprah came from nothing. Do you hear me? Nothing. Dirt porches, raped, abused. At one point, she tells a story about how she wasn't allowed to sleep in the house as a child, like a little small, and had to sleep out on the porch because she was dark skinned. And Oprah's one of the richest women in the world.
Right.
Like, and she did that. Like, she didn't have big conglomerates behind her. There's people that's going to scream Illuminati or she sold out, whatever. At the end of the day, that sister decided for herself what she wanted to be, and she became it.
Right.
And the other thing about her that I love, that I used to hate, but I've learned that she's right. She does not feel obligated to take care of anybody but herself and the people she loves. We often say stuff like, you know, and not that she doesn't give to charities and stuff, because she does, but she knows the power of no.
Right.
She knows the power of my space is my space, and you're not taking that from me.
Do you see what he just wrote?
A mess. When I tell y'all,
so when I post this, it's not going to show the comments, right? So Boondock Saint 0920 said Oprah is thick as hell too. Yes.
He's a thick fiend.
BBWs. He's into the big one. So.
He is a thick fiend, y'all. When I tell y'all, and if you're not a friend of him on Facebook, he's Jamal St. John. He posts a lot of in-depth stuff. Yeah. But thick fiend, stuff like that. Ridiculous. But he's right. That's the other thing.
Once we're done, he's the first person I'm going to go
find. Hilarious. He's hilarious. But that's the other thing. She was a big girl, too, when she did most of that. You know what I'm saying? She didn't let that stop her. And so Oprah, absolutely. My number 4 is Oprah. Now, my last one, Chels, I kind of cheated a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. It's not a person. Okay. It's a group of people.
Okay.
It would be a collective of ancestors, both related to me or not, who have crossed over to the other side.
Okay.
And because I want to know their journey, I want to know their story. Like I revere the ancestors. That's like, I tell people all the time, I'm not religious. I'm not, but I revere my ancestors. Just recently, my niece, who is my brother's daughter, and she's actually his stepdaughter, so these are not her blood relatives, right? She went on to Ancestry.com and found a photo of my grandmother's mother that I have never seen, and her 9 siblings that I did not know she had, because I just don't know that much about my father's. Like, I remember her, I grew up with her, but I don't know a lot about her family.
Right.
And so she gave me that gift, and it just sparked this desire for me to know. My grandmother that raised me passed years ago, and one of my greatest regrets is that I didn't get family history from her. You know, so my advice to anybody listening, So you don't have to wish for a collective roundtable of ancestors. Take advantage of the people who are here, who know your family story, who knows your family's history, and get that information. So you can have that for your children. So you can have that, and not just the easy ancestry. Like, ask the hard stuff. Ask them what they thought of the civil rights movement. Ask them their opinions of Martin and Malcolm if they were that old. You know what I mean? Just get the stories, get their perspectives, because once they're gone, they're gone. Or they're scarce, or there's, it's hard to find. So that would be my number 5, a collective roundtable of ancestors.